This down a little bit. The report does talk about the preponderance of evidence. Now, in the law, that's a pretty low level of confidence, yeah? How would you describe your own feeling?
You know, I think number one is that the facts are solid in this investigation, that they follow the scientific method. They laid out two theories. One, that this was a zoonotic spillover from nature. And number two theory is it came from a lab. And they said, let's do everything we can to shoot down both of those theories, and they've done that. It shows a preponderance of evidence that this came from an unintentional laboratory leak. I think anyone that's a reasonable person will look through this and come to the same conclusion.
What does it tell you that they filed for certain patents, what, in November, October of 2019?
The patents that they were releasing in November 2019, December 2019, had to do with biocontainment, that there was some type of a leak going on. So there's multiple documents that would show all through 2019 showing the concerns about the leaks that were going on, the laboratory accidents, and how they were trying to fix them. And this all crescendos kind of to a head in that September, October 2019 timeframe.
Do the patents for the biosafety indicate that they're trying to improve the lab, or that they've already got a problem in that lab?
Yeah, I think the answer is both. Certainly, even early on in 2019, all those patents and their comments that and the visitors that they're getting, people coming in and teaching classes on better biocontainment practices as well. Certainly looks like there was some type of a sentinel moment when all of a sudden they're barricading the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and all of a sudden the Chinese Communist Party leaders are involved, coming and visiting the laboratory as well.
Wouldn't you see if the virus was moving around in Wuhan months earlier, wouldn't there be evidence?
To start with, it seems like it was just a very small leak, maybe just one or two, three people infected. Maybe it was just people within the laboratory itself. Certainly there's evidence that Wuhan lab workers were ill as well. So for some reason it never got out in the community would be the theory.
One of the things epidemiologists say is that the vast majority of the early cases are around that wet market. Right. If there was a leak weeks, months earlier, wouldn't those people have taken it home to a different neighborhood? Wouldn't it be elsewhere in the city or beyond?
Right. So I think the Wuhan seafood market was a super spreader event. Even the Chinese government says this. Dr. Shi, the bat lady, says it was a super spreader event. The Chinese CDC says this was a super spreader event, that COVID did not originate there. If that virus came from an animal, it should have been in lots of locations. The epidemiology of the seafood market would suggest that this virus was spread around the toilets, it was spread around people where they were eating lunch together, that type of thing. But once again, China shows us data, they take it away, they show it to us again. They won't give us the environmental data from going into and out of the seafood market as well. So that data is incomplete. But I think most scientists, they look at what happened there, they would conclude that this is a super spreader event.
Not the actual origin point.
No, sir.
One of the things that people who say that had a natural origin, you can see in the earliest samples from the wet market that it has two lineages, that it splits early on. And that wouldn't have been cooked up in a lab. That's something that happens in the natural processes.
Certainly there could have been one or two introductions of the virus into the market. Maybe it was two different people. So when a virus is passed from the bat to an animal and then tries to leap towards humans, there should be a lot of false tries. It can't get the perfect glue to stick to the human lung cells. But this one showed up just perfect. So I think most of the evidence points towards that this was made in a laboratory virus.
So it's just too fitted to humans too soon.
Too perfect.
Too perfect.
So each human lung cell has a receptor, and think of it like a lock on a door. This virus just shows up de novo, out of nowhere, novel, with the perfect key to that lock.
So you don't think this is some kind of bioweapon the Chinese military is working on?
I do not. Here's the caveat. This report shows that the CCP was very concerned about bioweapons. And therefore, they were developing a response to bioweapons as well, both countermeasures as well as offensive weapons. So I do think that there was scientists working for the PLA that were interacting with labs in Wuhan that certainly could have been doing that type of research. But I don't think that's what the purpose of SARS-CoV-2 was.
What could the Chinese government do to clear this up?
Be forthright and show us all their research. There's some witnesses I'm sure we'd like to talk to as well. And that leads us to what type of response